What's up, guys? This is episode 9 of It's Still Our City. It's with the RACC shelter, Richmond Animal Care and Control. This was one of those ones where I was definitely interested. I thought it would be fun. I knew it would be fun. But Jesus Christ, some of the stories. With that being said, this is definitely, I would implement the first trigger warning on an episode. It's, we all love animals, and some of these stories are painful. I do not envy these two women. I respect them exponentially. But man, that's got to be a hard fucking job. And yeah, it obviously is. The RACC shelter, they're located at 1600 Chamber Lane Avenue, Richmond, Virginia. Definitely look into them. These people hold it down. There's a dog licking my leg as we speak. But yeah, it's Haley and it's Taylor. These two women are complete badasses. Yeah, like I said, this is a rough one. There's some fun times in here. It's a good interview. I had a really good time. It gets pretty brutal sometimes. We all love our critters. They're our family. I look forward every day to going home to my fucking cat. That dude's the man. And my life wouldn't be as cool as it is without him. And yeah, they have to deal with these types of things every single day. And sometimes it's completely worth it, and then other times the story doesn't end the way that they want to, and it's really fucking sad. But yeah, I would definitely say trigger warning on this one. Haley and Taylor, y'all are badasses. Thank you so much for doing this interview. RACC shelter, y'all are amazing. This is episode 9 of It's Still Our City. Thank you, Fuzzy Cactus, for letting us record in your wonderful venue restaurant. This one's produced by Notterly, and brought to you by RVA Magazine. Yeah, hold your fucking cats and dogs close tonight.
All right, so I'm here with Haley and Taylor from the RACC shelter. What is Richmond Animal
Care and Control?
Care and Control. Okay,
Yep.
Cool. So how old are you guys?
I'm 26.
I'm 30.
Okay. How long have you been working for RACC?
I've been with them since I was 21. So
Okay.
almost 5 years. Yeah.
I thought you'd been there for longer than that. I went there forever ago and got 2 cats one day, and I thought you helped us with that, but it must have been someone else. That's weird.
Someone else
I'm so
like
sorry.
me.
That's fucking rude of me. Okay, so when did you guys move to Richmond?
I moved to Richmond. I moved back to Richmond in 2016. I grew up just outside of it and moved away, and then I moved back officially in 2016, and I've been here since.
Okay, cool. Where'd you grow up outside of it?
Verina.
Okay, that's out where my work is. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. I grew up in Henrico, and then I went to Lynchburg College, actually my freshman year, and it sucked. So
Jerry.
yeah, it's the worst. And so then I transferred to VCU. That was in 2018. Yeah, and I've been here since.
How many
then.
years were you at
Lynchburg?
yeah.
Just 1 year.
1 year?
Yeah, I transferred immediately after that
Dude,
to VCU.
I was in a band forever ago, and there was a band that we were friends with from Lynchburg, and we played there a few times, and I used to talk so much shit about Falwell. And it's that dude and his son, who I guess now runs that shit. They know people's first and last names.
Yeah.
They keep track of the town.
They own the whole town, basically.
We would get pulled
It's
over
awful.
on the way into the
Yeah.
shows, on the way out. It was crazy. Like
Yeah.
the shows would be huge, but we're like, all right, we can't have weed, we can't have anything because
Yeah.
they like know that we're
There's
coming.
like curfews on campus.
Ew.
Like they check you in your dorms and stuff.
Ew.
It's so weird. Yeah, I would not recommend. They literally own the entire town. It's nuts.
Yeah, I get why you left.
Yeah, and everyone knows everyone, and they're all religious, and it's not my vibe.
Yeah, it's brutal and it's very strange. It's a weird fucking town. I could go on a million rants
That's a
about
whole
that.
other conversation.
Okay, so when did you start working? Did you so you went to VCU, graduated VCU.
Mhm.
When did you decide you wanted to do the RACC thing?
Yeah. So I adopted my dog from RAC during COVID.
Cool.
He was a problem dog. He was like the only dog there because he was so bad. And so I ended up keeping up tabs with one of the kennel staff people that worked with him.
So
and
he was the only dog there. Like he was a dick to all the other dogs. So they couldn't
no,
have
to
other
people.
dogs.
Like he
Oh.
was bad. Like he would rip your shirts and like he would get overstimulated and he was awful and everyone hated him.
What kind of dog is it?
He's a pit bull.
Okay.
He's great now, but yeah. And so I kept up with the kennel staff person that worked with him. We became friends. A spot opened and I was like, oh my God, I want to do that.
What was the spot that opened for you? What was the title?
It was a kennel position.
Okay.
So working in the kennels, walking dogs, cleaning kennels.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long have you been there, Taylor?
I've been there almost 3 years now.
Okay.
Mhm.
And what is your position there?
I'm an animal control officer.
Okay. So what does that entail?
So basically, we are the animal police. We enforce animal laws, the Virginia Code of Animal Laws, any city ordinances related to animal laws. We investigate crimes against animals. We investigate bite reports, and we help wildlife when we can. But primarily, we are here to investigate the crimes that are committed against animals.
It's gonna be a lot of questions about that. So this is a random fucking question. There's an old lady that lives off of all the way up. She takes in small anything under the sun animals. Are you familiar with this woman?
No, that
probably
might be
Henrico.
Henrico.
I hit you guys up just to ask questions, and someone from RACC recommended, and I called her, and she was such a fucking sweetheart, and started asking me about music, and there was a crow that got abandoned like by its, I guess.
Oh, is she
family.
a rehabber, a wildlife
Yes,
rehabilitator?
but
Oh, great.
She's not like, she doesn't do it for money.
No,
Like,
they don't. They don't make money. Wildlife rehabbers do it solely out of the kindness of their heart.
I don't know why it got kicked out of the nest, but it was out of the
Yeah.
nest and it was just like hanging out at our front door. And I'm like, all right, well, and then called you guys, and then
Oh wait, I know who you're talking about. Off of Horsepen.
yeah,
Oh yes, that I believe her name is Pat.
yes,
Yes,
She's
she
a
is our
rehabber.
go-to. She is
Goddamn,
a
the woman's a
fantastic.
fucking saint.
She is a certified wildlife rehabilitator by the Department of Wildlife Resources. She is fantastic.
I
We
brought
take her possums, birds.
I was gonna say we probably send her baby
yeah,
squirrels.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, I was
Yeah.
fucking. I went in there and I had this crow, and she just took it right in.
Yep, yeah,
Her
she's
husband's like,
fantastic.
hey, how you doing? I think he was like rolling a
yeah,
joint.
she's
I'm like,
technically
okay,
in
cool.
Henrico, but we take things to her because it's just outside of the city line.
Like an
Yeah,
older
she's-
couple. And
yeah.
they were so badass, and they had all
Yeah.
these weird fucking animals in there.
Yeah,
And then, like,
yeah.
as we're there, this couple shows up in like a tinted window Honda Civic, and they have a squirrel. And
Yep.
I'm like,
Yeah,
what the fuck
sounds
am I
exactly
doing?
right.
This woman deserves.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Rehabbers are saints.
They're amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
My
Bless
mom was a
rehabbers.
rehabber
The house
for
smelled
years.
terrible.
Oh, yeah, they
God.
And they
always
were
do.
blasting Frank Zappa, and I didn't even know what I was looking at. Like
Yeah.
there's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was like I'm fucking
If
mongoose
you like
over
look in
there.
a random corner, there's a creature peeking at you.
Yeah. It was
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She has a possum that like roams around her house. I think it's a cat.
Whoa. What is her name? Pat.
I think her name is Pat, if I
Okay,
remember it
well,
correctly.
shout
I haven't
out
been there
Pat.
in a while.
Okay, so you got into it, and you got into it full time,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure you dug it. What was the first time you were like, oh damn, this was a rough day?
Oh God. There was one specific dog that she was in the backside of her kennel getting her actual kennel cleaned, and she was laying on the cold, hard floor, and we didn't know it at the time, but she had this rare thing happen where her intestines twist and it cuts off the blood flow, and it's a very rapid thing. But her paws were cold. She was cold. She was like half dead. And I was like sobbing, holding her, like going to grab my director so we could like help euthanize her so she wasn't just like struggling to pass away cold on the floor by herself. It was awful.
That's got to be, yeah. It's you just don't know, and then once you're figuring it out, it's kind of like almost too late.
Yeah. No, there was that. What she was going through was something that we could not.
There's
help
no
her.
saving.
Oh, of
There's
course.
no saving.
Yeah,
her.
and it's
Yeah.
not worth the trauma to throw her into a vehicle and rush her to the emergency vet. And it's just
It was just the impact of knowing that, like, if I hadn't gone back there at that time, like, that dog would have died on a cold, hard floor without anyone even, like, being aware what was happening, and it broke me. I was sobbing. I normally don't cry during that stuff, but I was just, like, holding this dog, like, sobbing. And my boss was, like, trying to euthanize her and, like, wiping the tears off my eyes at the same time.
How far into that was it with you?
That was probably in the first year. I mean, my first day, I sat in on a euthanasia. So, yeah.
Damn.
You get into it very quickly.
Yes.
It's every day is wild there.
you never know what your day is going to be like
Yeah.
ever. It's always different.
See, my brain naturally wanted to like go to something funny, and you talked about like the intestines, and I wanted to tell a joke about a bandmate. Like,
Unfortunately, there's a lot of dark and morbidity in our world.
People don't realize what goes
Yeah.
on there. Yeah.
I want to. Should I tell the story? A band? No, I don't know.
You can lighten the mood.
Yeah,
a
lighten it up.
bandmate like this older lady at his job, and then she like banged him so hard that his balls got tied up, and he had to go to the fucking hospital.
Did
But
his
then
circulation get cut off and his extremities get cold?
They like wrapped or something, and
They
he
like twisted.
yes,
Oh
and
my
he didn't feel
God.
good, and like looked down, and his sack was like all
Sounds
huge.
awful.
But then he
I
told
think
us.
that's real life blue balls.
Did they still talk after that?
I'm pretty sure he got I think he like went to a different department
I would get a restraining
Really?
order.
relatively quickly. What were
In
you?
case you missed the first one.
Yeah. There's gonna be I tell unnecessary, disgusting stories sometimes.
So do we all the time.
Yeah.
I can't have normal dinner table conversations because I bring up work stuff and everyone I'm with is like, and it like tears down the mood.
Okay, so with you, you've been there. Okay, so when did you decide that you wanted to get into that field?
So I was a veterinary assistant for about 10 years before I got into this. So
Okay.
right when I was 18, I was working in vet clinics and working my way up. I went to vet tech school, did all the things. The vet tech world was really, really hard and was draining. And there's also zero money in it. Vet techs and vet assistants are not paid nearly what they should be for the amount of work they do.
Well, what is a vet tech? A vet
Basically,
assistant?
you're a veterinary nurse. So
Okay.
everything that an RN does for human doctors, you're doing this for veterinarians. You're drawing blood, you're taking radiographs, you're assisting in surgery, you're giving medications, vaccinations, you're placing IV catheters, you're doing anything and everything that a vet would need help with when caring for an animal in a clinic or hospital setting.
Yeah, it seems like when you bring a dog in, it seems like there's like the first person
Yep.
that kind of does most of the things.
So you're like tier one.
You kind of do everything, and then the
Literally.
vet
Yes.
does like
The
an
person,
exam and
yeah.
tells you what needs to be done. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
You
did
also
that.
have to be certified
Yes.
in order to get that position. So
Yeah.
you can't just apply and do it.
Yeah.
You have to have like
It's a lot of
yeah.
training, a lot of school for it. And so after 10 years, I was exhausted from it. I was like, this isn't going anywhere for me. I'm just not where I want to be financially. I'm tired. So I, on a whim, applied for the animal control officer position. I had no idea what the job entailed. So I did a ride along as part of the interview process. And the day of the ride along was the day I was like, I want to do this. I think I can make a bigger impact doing this job. I was riding along with an officer who went to a call for a dog getting attacked and mauled by the other dogs that it lives with. And it was pouring rain. So we go to this house. We pull up, and this apparently was a citizen that this particular officer had been working with for months about coming into compliance with animal care. Like, he's supposed to do this, keep the dogs separated because they have a history of fighting. So we pull up, and there's like 4 dogs in this yard. There's mud everywhere. It's raining. We see a dog's body laying outside of a dog house, and it's bloody. There's just blood everywhere. The other 3 dogs are going berserk at us. And then the dog in the doghouse moved. We thought it was dead, but then she lifted up her head, and we were like, oh my God, she's still alive. So the officer literally jumped the fence into this random yard
Scooped them
full
up.
of pit bulls and like threw a blanket over the fence. I'm distracting all of the other dogs at one corner of the yard with food.
This is your fucking ride
This
along?
is my ride along,
Okay.
yeah. So I'm distracting all these pit bulls
Not
over
even
here.
paid to do
Not even
that.
paid. This officer jumps the fence, wrenches this dog's bleeding body out of this doghouse, hauls it over the fence, jumps the fence. We throw the dog into the truck and we rush her to the vet. And this dog was mangled, like she was shredded to death. And unfortunately, she didn't make it. She died at the vet. And this dog owner got charged with animal cruelty because this had been an issue with him for a long time of keeping these dogs together. They were fighting over food. They were intact, so they were fighting over like mating and everything. And he just wasn't doing what he was supposed to do to provide adequate care for them. And unfortunately, as a result, an animal died because of his actions. So seeing all that was like, wow, like this is a whole nother world that I didn't know existed. And I want to do this. I want to help animals in a bigger capacity and try to do as much as I can to save them.
That's awesome.
Fucking brutal. So when did you guys in your life, like, when did you realize you were like animal lovers, period?
Every day growing up.
For sure.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I was like, I want to be a vet.
Yeah. I knew I always wanted to work with them. Like, I had a very terrible childhood. I was a very abused child. I was not a very happy kid, but I had a best friend that was a cat. And this cat was my life. Like, he looked away my tears. He was my best friend. And so I feel like certain people are drawn to relationships with animals and build really strong bonds with them. And then I think that really defines who you are as a person as you grow up and what you want to do.
Totally. What was the cat's name?
Lucky.
Lucky.
And he was a black cat. He was really cool.
You were lucky to have Lucky.
Yeah.
What about you? What was like your first? Was it a cat or a dog?
My first pet that I was close with was also a cat. His
Fuck
name
yeah.
was
Cats rule.
Yes, they do.
Shout out cat.
Yes.
Yes.
He would sleep on my pillow next to my head every night, and he was just the best. His name was Odie.
We had Tiger when I was a kid. Hold on. What about you? What was your first?
I've mainly had dogs, so I have a zillion different dogs.
You got to get a cat.
Yeah, well, we have a cat right now.
There you go.
Yeah, her name is Nala, and I'm still working on my relationship. I haven't had cats, so I'm still kind of trying to understand how they work, you know.
Mhm.
So we're working on it. We're talking to each other and trying to
Yeah.
figure each other out. But dog wise, yeah, we always had at least two dogs at the same, at our houses, and I had a German Shepherd named Ezra. That was like my first, dog that I remember. And I remember one time I was like unloading a car. My back was to the street, and this guy was like walking up on me, and Ezra jumped over the fence and like bit him.
Oh my
and-
God.
and-
wow.
What are you
Yeah,
doing, buddy?
He was
guard
like
dog.
walking up on me. So
Yeah.
I was like, thanks, man.
See, I've always been a cat guy, and like I'm 6'5", I'm shrinking, but I've always had a deep voice. I'm tall and lanky and just look like a fucking mongoloid, and dogs always attack me.
That's,
Like,
yeah.
and like when I was a kid,
Freaky to them.
Yeah.
yeah, dude, like when I was a kid, I'm like hopping fences and trying to get shortcuts to meet up with my friends on my bike because there was nothing to do, and I just got fucked up by dog after
I
dog.
bet.
And we had a cat. I don't remember. I think the cat's name was Cleo. It was before my brain was remembering shit. But we had a cat, Tiger. And my dad, like, I was just so fascinated by it because my dad would just have full on conversations with the cat, and like my brother and I would be like down the hall just cracking. I was like, "So what are you going to do?" My dad also talks like Hank Hill. And that fucked me up when I was a kid because when that cartoon came out, everyone loved it. I'm like, it sounds like my dad. And then like people would make fun of me for it. But it's like, what are you doing for dinner tonight, Tiger?
Whatever
Tiger
you feed me.
doo-doo, Tiger poo-poo. He would just like say the weirdest shit. But my grandfather got a rescue dog, German Shepherd, and his name was Duke. I think his original name was Pogo, and the owner of
Pogo.
yeah, what
Love
a
that.
shit name.
I
like
love
both names.
Pogo.
Oh, come on.
I've never seen
Okay,
a German Shepherd.
I had a
named
Dalmatian
Pogo.
named I had a Dalmatian named Pongo, and everyone called him Pogo all the time. Because apparently
Isn't that
nobody
like
has
in-
seen
I
101
was gonna say,
Dalmatians.
yes.
Yeah.
So many
maybe
people.
that's what it was.
They were like Pogo. It's like, no, it's Pongo.
But yeah, that's when I started to kind of dig dog. I've
There
never
you
been a
go.
dog guy, but that was a good dog.
I had a lot of dogs growing up too. I remember my dad still has this dog, but when I was in like late middle school, a dog just like showed up in our garage, and we were like, I guess we're keeping it. And he
How big
still
was
has
the
that
dog?
It's a pit bull.
Nice.
We just kept it. We named her Lucy, but spelt like LOOS, like because she was on the
Yeah.
loose.
Oh,
Oh, that's pretty
nice.
sick. That's
Yeah.
a good one.
Yeah.
I never really lived with dogs until my mom adopted me.
Yeah.
I did like a meet and greet with her at her house, and it was like this farm in the middle of Verina. It's like a mini farm, and she was like, "Do you want to come live with me?" And I was like, "This strange lady is asking me to come live with her."
How old
And
were you?
I was 17.
Okay.
And she had this ginormous Great Pyrenees dog, like massive.
What
and
the fuck is that?
They're like these just ridiculously large, white, fluffy polar bear dogs.
They're
I've
like
seen
farm
those.
dogs.
They're livestock
yeah.
Dude,
brands.
there's two of those
Yeah.
like on the way out to Verina because that's my commute.
Oh yes, yeah.
There's two huge ones
yeah.
like on that hill.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Her dog came over and like laid his head on me, and I was like, I think this'll do. And I was like, yeah, I'll come live with you and your giant dog.
Yeah.
And so you were 17 and considering an adoption scenario. Like,
Yes.
How
Mhm.
how did that play out before then? Like, what does that look like for you?
My twin brother and I lived with our
Twin?
aunt and uncle. Yes,
Identical?
fraternal brother.
Okay.
We were sent to live with our aunt and uncle when we were 7. And we lived with them from the age of 7 to 16. It was, like I said, very abusive, a house full of raging alcoholism. I was finally able to leave when I was 16. And then I went and stayed in a series of unofficial foster homes. And I was kind of homeless at that point, but I had started going to a church in Verina.
Where was your brother during all that? Did you guys
He
get
had to
split?
stay. He wasn't able to leave. So for some reason, CPS did not get involved the way they should have, and he couldn't get out the way I did. So
Okay, now I'm starting to see the origin story
the
of your
villain
heart.
origin story is starting.
Wait, can I pause?
Yeah.
I just want to note that, like, I feel like people in our field have toxic childhoods.
Oh my God, absolutely.
And so we like,
we
are
have to
like
make up for
animals.
it.
Like, animals
Yes.
will love me.
Yes,
That's
literally.
what I'm saying. It's
Literally.
unconditional.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
It's not a villain
100%.
origin story. I think
Yeah.
that's why I can see, like, you wanted to escape.
Yes,
and then,
So was able to leave there when I was 16, a series of unofficial foster homes, and then my mom heard about me through the church, and she was a vet tech for 30-something years, and
Okay,
she's
there
a
we
wildlife
go.
rehabilitator.
There we go.
And she just heard about me and was like, let me invite this girl to come live with me. And it worked out. And she's my mom, and she's a saint and an angel, and I love her to death. And
Fuck yeah. What's mom's name?
Laura.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out Laura.
Yeah.
Laura.
No, she's the best. Who would take in a moody, unruly 17-year-old in their late 60s?
Up for the challenge.
Yeah.
And if you
Yeah.
fucked around, you would have found out with a polar bear dog.
Yeah, exactly. No. But she kind of really introduced me into the world of animals. Because of her, I got a job at a Great Pyrenees rescue in Verina. When I was 17, started working there. And then with that experience, I was able to get my foot in the door at vet clinics, working in kennels, and then working my way up to being a vet assistant and a vet tech and everything, and which led to 30 and an animal control officer.
So you had a really nitty gritty ride along, and you're like, I need to help.
I was like, I want to do this.
So how quickly did you get your foot in the door after did you say yes? And they're like,
I did. Okay,
yes?
so I said yes, but the city moves very slowly. So
no fooling.
yeah. So that was, I believe, April. And I stupidly had gone to work because I had started in a new vet clinic in my actual neighborhood in the museum district, or the fan. And I told my coworkers I applied to be an animal control officer for the city of Richmond, and I got fired.
What the fuck?
So I got
talking
about a new job. And
Yeah.
she told me that during my firing meeting. She's like, I really don't want to hear people talking about looking for new jobs. It's toxic.
As I treat you like shit, you're
Yeah.
currently
Yeah.
grousing at
So
work.
yeah, I got fired, but I wasn't able to start working for the city until June. So
The
it was
process is
yeah,
rough.
it was a long few
you
months.
have to do drug tests, background tests. You have to do orientation at City Hall.
Yeah.
And
Hold on. What is that like?
You go sit in the
You get
auditorium.
paid.
You do get paid for it. You sit in an auditorium, and the city representatives kind of just talk about like city requirements to be an employee and
Yeah.
the
This
code
is
of
like a whole
conduct.
rigmarole.
expectations
Yeah,
of
yeah.
being a city civil servant.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what your benefits are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's City Hall, like downtown.
Yes.
Yes.
City. Okay, so
Yeah.
then you're like getting fucking tickets outside too while you're doing all this shit. Or
I think I actually carpooled with somebody because So animal control,
sure
we
someone
try to
dropped you
carpool
off.
because usually
Yeah.
the hirings come in batches.
Yeah.
So you're usually starting with at least one other person.
Mhm.
At least that's how it was for me. I started
City
with another
vehicles
officer.
also,
Oh, okay.
they
Yeah.
have parking
right.
passes.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
like,
you're right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a chump that lives
Yeah.
like 2 blocks from the Capitol building, so
Yeah,
I go into
yeah.
City Hall a lot.
Yeah.
I'm like, this
Yeah.
doesn't say Saturday. Why did
Yeah.
I get a
So
ticket?
what?
And they're like,
Yeah.
well,
So what's the deal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's awful.
When I started, because I was in the kennels, I was hired as a temp. So it's like a contractor
Mhm.
and you go through them. And then I was a temp for over a year before I got a city position.
Mhm.
You can be a temp forever.
Really? There's
Yes.
no like.
Yes. There is no point. Yeah. There is no requirement to be like, yeah, you're going to move up to be a city position after a year.
Right.
Yeah, there's no
Yeah,
guarantee
no.
of that.
So wait, what does that entail? You just have to be good and they want that from you to offer that position
It
to you?
really is. So the position when they open, the city positions for that, they are open to the public. So you have to apply for them.
Even
so
if
you
you're
have to do
already a
another
temp,
interview
yeah.
with like HR and our director.
But being the temp though helps like get your foot in that door.
But
for
there are
sure.
people who are temps that like will apply for the city
Yes.
position and not get pushed through from the HR.
Yep.
Mm.
It's crazy.
What's the background check process like?
I
with
don't know
that?
if it's different for
They
the
do
kennel
handprints
versus the officers.
It's probably way more brutal for you.
I'm not sure how different it is.
There
like
might be different requirements
Yeah, I think
for
there's
like
different
what is
requirements.
okay and what is not.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
because
don't
then
know.
even after officers get hired, we are technically in training for a certain amount of time, completing like a checkbook of things, and then you have
Mhm.
to go to an animal control officer training academy before you're actually finally like released into the world.
And your position is on probation
Yes,
for the
for a
first
year.
year.
Yep.
So like
Mhm.
if you fuck up,
Well,
Like,
what is
they
a
can
fuck
fire
up?
you.
What's a fuck
You
up?
can-
breaking a law or just
But
doing
breaking,
do-
negligence.
breaking
So
one
I
of their
know-
laws, or like getting in trouble outside of work, or
I'm not sure about outside of
So
work.
there are like,
Yeah.
I mean, there's like, you can't drink
Yeah,
alcohol
yeah.
like a certain amount of time before, like everybody else,
Yeah.
but it's like
Yeah.
very specific. But also, certain positions get called in for random drug tests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So officers
Um,
get random drug
yes,
testing.
officers
Yeah.
in kennel positions
Yeah.
get called in for random drug tests. So if you failed one, let's say you're in that probation period, they can fire you for that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Versus if it's after a year, you can be put on like a
Probation or some sort of like,
yeah, basically. They can't fire you just for one offense after
Okay.
the year.
Mhm.
just really quick, this is kind of just dumb, and I'm backtracking, and I'm sorry, but I can't stop thinking about it. When you said that there isn't an opportunity for overtime, like, does that mean like you could be working overtime hours and not get paid time and a half? Like, there's
Oh.
not a benefit to the hours?
they would just
temp
not let you.
positions
Or they
do
wouldn't let
not
you-
get paid time and a half.
Okay.
You get paid your same rate.
But you could,
Yeah.
you
can get overtime hours.
But
yes.
you're not going to
Okay,
get
okay,
paid
okay.
the
Yeah.
overtime.
So they're
You
not-
are
they're
not
not-
getting paid overtime
they're not
hours.
kicking you out after 32 hours. You can go
Yeah,
over 40,
yeah.
but you don't accrue time and a half over 40.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank
See,
you.
their
Sorry.
world is so different. Like, we
That was
work in the
driving me
same
nuts.
building, but we have two vastly different worlds. So
Yeah.
I have no idea what goes on in the
Yeah.
temp and kennel thing.
Yeah.
What are your hours like normally through a week?
Our hours are 8 to 5 usually.
Okay.
Friday, 8 to 6 for me.
What's up with you? What about yours?
Ugh, a lot. So the officers work 4 10-hour shifts. So I'm on side A of the week. I work Sunday through Wednesday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. So I'm supposed to hit 40. But generally, like, if there's a late call or shit's going sideways, like, I'll have to stay late. Like 2 weeks ago, I picked up a cruelty case at 4:30 in the afternoon. So instead of going home, I was like, cool, I guess I'll be stuck till 7. And then officers also have an on-call rotation. So right now there's 8 officers. So every 8 weeks, you go on call. And that means from
It's wide open.
yeah, so
After hours.
it's after hours.
Mhm.
So from Friday of my on-call week, I go on call at 7 p.m. and you're on call from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. of the next day for 7 days straight. So I'll work my normal shift and then I go on call, and you can get called out at 2 a.m., midnight, 11
Whoa.
p.m. And I've had weeks where I've averaged like my pay period was like 110 hours
Mm.
because of how much overtime I
one
had
week?
to in 2 weeks. In
Oh,
2
2
weeks.
weeks.
Yeah. It was a lot of, it just really depends on like how many cases you pick up, if you have to come in on your day off to work on your cases, if you get called into court on one of your days off, if you're on call.
Oh, okay.
So-
So, all right. Give me a breakdown of
1 second.
yeah. Give me a breakdown of what's the longest day. What is like one of the longest days for you? Like, is it a court? And when you get out of court, then you get a call of like an emergency thing.
That
and
can
then-
happen if you're on call that Wednesday. So our court days are Wednesdays. That's our scheduled court day. However, I've been to court on Fridays, my day off, for something just because it was heard in a particularly different court building. But our regular court days are Wednesdays. So we'll have court. We'll go into work at 7. Court is at 1 o'clock. It just really depends because the traffic and the criminal dockets are always heard before the animal docket. So even though our docket is supposed to start at 1 p.m., it never does. Sometimes we
hell.
haven't gone on until 3. But the latest I've been in a courtroom is 5 because the judges don't want to be there past 5. So sometimes cases will either get continued or pushed out, or the judges will kind of rush through things, which isn't a great feeling, especially if you have like a trial you're trying to put on. But court days are usually not the worst days.
Hold on, go
at
back.
all.
So it's not a great feeling, especially when you have like a trial
Mhm.
day that you want to initiate or
So, like recently, I had a case that went to trial. It was like 3:30 p.m. when my case finally was getting heard by the judge.
So hold on. I'm sorry I keep interrupting. I'm
Yeah,
sorry
no
if I'm
worries.
asking stupid questions. So this is you pitching the idea, for lack of better expression, and
The
then
charges?
they
Yes.
choose whether or not it does go to trial.
So it depends on the charges. So anything that is not a jailable offense, we, the officers, are the ones presenting the cases. The Commonwealth attorneys only really help us for charges that are jailable or charges that are felonies. So anything that's not a jailable offense, that's just like a finable offense, the officers are responsible for presenting this to the judge. The judge has to listen and make a decision, is this person guilty or not? So that particular day, it was actually multiple felony charges that I had on somebody,
One person.
on one person. And
What
so
were the charges? Are you allowed to?
yes, this is finalized. Those were multiple animal cruelty charges.
What were the details?
So this was a situation where multiple dogs were being left at a residence, not attended to. There were several starved dogs on the property.
Hold
Wait,
on.
which one was it?
Someone had a property
Yes,
that they were not living in, but they were keeping multiple dogs.
it was a trap house.
Okay.
And they had one dog being kept in a cage in the garage in the middle of winter. The dog was emaciated, and he was almost hypothermic. So emaciated dogs have no fat on their bodies, so they can't keep themselves warm. So dogs that are emaciated are more prone to dying from the elements. So even though this dog was inside a garage, it wasn't heated, there was no insulation, he had no way to keep himself warm. So he was dying. There were also dogs being kept in the basement inside of cages without water. They weren't being fed. They were living in their own feces and urine. They were disgusting. It was horrendous.
Are they on chains?
They weren't, because they were in cages.
Oh, you said that.
Yeah.
I'm fucking dumb. I'm sorry.
But we ended up, like, I posted multiple notices on this property, like, please contact me. Is somebody taking care of these dogs? Yada, yada. Nobody responded.
I'm stomping all over you, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
So
fine.
you're going by here, and you're just peeping through windows.
Well, we got a call about it. So the landlord of the property
It's like
is...
a townhouse?
No, it's a real house in the south side. It's a whole ass house with a detached garage. But like it was a trap house, so nobody was actually living in it. It was just they were keeping stuff there and they were keeping dogs there. So the landlord had been doing a check on the property and noticed all these animals and saw the conditions they were being kept in, was like, can somebody do something about this? So that's where we come in, because a landlord can't just walk into someone's property, or they're not supposed to, and do things. So especially if there's animal related concerns, she placed a call to dispatch, who then sorted that call through to animal control, because the police department does not handle any animal related calls. That comes straight to animal control. So she reported suspected neglect. I go out, lay eyes on the situation. I see all these dogs being kept in these conditions. I can't just bust in and take them. I don't know what's in that house. I don't know if someone is in that house. I don't have a search warrant. So I posted notices multiple days in a row that went unanswered. So then at that point, we can apply for a search warrant if we have probable cause that these animals have been left and are not being cared for and at risk of dying or immediate threat to their lives. So we had probable cause for a search warrant at that point. And then we get RPD involved, the Richmond Police Department. They have to do a threat assessment. We have to get the tactical team involved. This was a house that was affiliated with gang members and past shootings and situations. So we do a search warrant, and that's when we can finally remove the animals from the situation. And once we remove the animals from the situation, we can assess them more thoroughly. We have our shelter veterinarian do exams. She does what's called a cruelty exam. And all of these animals were determined to have been treated cruelly and neglected severely. Unfortunately, as a result of some of their conditions, a lot of these animals had to be euthanized due to how poorly bad off they were.
They were fucked.
Yeah. So due to the overall severity of the situation, I deemed that, this person should be charged with animal cruelty. So I took out felony warrants and misdemeanor animal cruelty, as well as your standard animal neglect violations, and took them to court.
Yeah, good fucking God.
Yeah. So this was a day that this case did not go on until later in the day. And this was a jailable offense, obviously. So I'm being grilled by a defense attorney. The CA is asking me questions. The judge has had a very long day before our docket finally went on. And it truly felt like she was like rushing through it. She was telling like the defense attorney and the CA to like get to the point. So it was a little frustrating to feel like, the judge really just wanted to be done with the day instead of really listening to the whole case.
Yeah, that's pretty whack.
And the case did get dismissed.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah,
for
this guy
fuck's-
got off on
Yeah.
multiple animal cruelty charges.
Did you get to see this motherfucker in the courtroom?
Oh, yeah.
What did he do when he got dismissed?
Oh, what they always do, they walk up and they laugh out of the courtroom, and they always make like a snide remark, like they're like, "Can't catch me, motherfuckers," and like they always say the same thing. But we'll get him again. Offenders always repeat. He has a dog right now, so I'm keeping an eye out.
God damn. Huh. Kind of shut the hell
I
up.
know, I know.
literally,
Yeah.
That shit's deep.
Yeah, it gets real deep real
Yeah,
fast,
yeah.
unfortunately.
How many cases do you generally like have at one time? Or
It truly depends. I mean, the call volume is
Yeah.
increasing every single year. So it really depends. Like right now, I probably have like 35 to 40 cases that I'm overseeing myself, but then all of my fellow officers are probably seeing the same amount, if not more, themselves. So it's just it's constant. But not all of them are as severe as, felony cruelty. Some of them are simple, like ordinance violations, not having your dog licensed or something like that, or like breeding animals without a permit, because, backyard breeding is a real issue in the city of Richmond. And we take that very seriously here.
What the fuck? That's news. Okay.
It is,
God.
though. Oh my God.
It's so wild to me how people don't realize
Okay, the
this.
city of Richmond is one of the few cities in the entire United States that has a breeding ordinance. We require that any animal over the age of 6 months has to be spayed or neutered. And if they are not spayed or neutered, you must purchase a breeder's permit to harbor an intact animal. It's the only way we can kind of like try to curtail this endless backyard breeding and harboring of intact animals who are just constantly reproducing.
Yeah.
So what's the deal? Why is that so dramatically? Why is that so much higher in Richmond specifically? Is there any like?
I don't know if it's higher specifically in Richmond, but we're just very fortunate enough to have a specific ordinance to try to
I
keep
can't
it
tell
under
you how many
control.
times I've been at the front desk and someone is reclaiming their 7-month-old puppy that got loose, and we have it and we've been keeping it safe, and they come to pick it up and they refuse to get it spayed or neutered,
Yeah.
and they look at this puppy as a money machine.
It's profit for them.
It is
Oh.
Yeah,
nuts.
it's just
It
like
is
I want to get as
nuts.
many litters as I can out of this
Yeah.
animal and make money off
How
of all of these
many
animals.
mom dogs
Yeah.
that are so overbred?
Yeah.
We're going to go right
Like,
back to that, but I don't want
yeah.
to lose this thought. Do you remember? We're going to have to bleep this, but.
I'm
who the
also about to pee my pants.
Oh, let's
Oh,
take a
yeah.
piss break.
I'm
But
so
let me,
sorry.
Let me,
Do it.
let me knock out this weird shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was the name of the fucking guy that owned That weirdo, the
Oh,
bald
the guy
guy.
with the
Is
chickens.
it not the person that owns it?
It wasn't
now?
chickens, dude. It was fucking
Chicken.
goats. He was breeding.
He was
the
breeding
goats.
goats.
Oh
And
my
he kept getting in
God.
trouble because he was in like a normal tiny
You're
house
right,
in
yeah, it was a
Carytown.
Oh, and he was
And
breeding
there's, like,
goats and
goats
carries.
banging.
That
So
is nuts.
we don't have a breeding ordinance for goats. It's
I
just
always
Are
to
you
think
say
this
allowed to
guy's
have
weird.
goats?
You
in the-
can. You
Okay.
can
I
have
worked
goats.
there one night,
Yeah.
and I'm like getting off, and I didn't know he was the owner or the manager or the owner, and he started playing Kids Bop, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why are we listening to Kids Bop? And he's like, you don't like this music? I think it's. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, this dude's really creepy. Like, he genuinely was like jamming Kids Bop. And then, like, a couple weeks later, I heard about, like, a goat fine that he got.
Bro's a little weird.
He looks
That's
like...
such a weird hobby to get into.
Yeah. He
Breeding
looks like
goats
the
and Kids
fucking-
Bop.
Are you guys familiar with the Punisher?
Like the comic?
Yeah, there's a character called Kingpin. He looks exactly like that. Let's take a piss
Vaguely,
break.
vaguely.
Let's take a piss break.
All right.
We left off at the...
The court case?
Okay.
Okay. Stuff, yeah. You can go
Um,
anywhere.
going straight for the jugular. Okay, so Haley, what is the worst day that you had at work? What would that entail?
I mean, I'm sure I've had a few that I would count as my worst days, but probably when dogs that I loved get euthanized, like dogs that were like past their assessment. We had them for a long time, but then something happened and we could not justify adopting them out after something happened, aka biting someone. Yeah. There was one
Like someone
specific dog.
visiting, like to
Well,
potentially adopt?
Usually
it's usually
staff.
a staff member
Yeah.
or a volunteer.
Yeah.
Like, so if they're there for a long time, they will start to literally lose their minds. They go kennel crazy.
Yeah, like leash aggression, kennel aggression.
Anything.
Jumping,
Yeah.
spinning in circles in their kennel.
And it's just from being in the shelter
just
for such
from
a long
being
time.
there because it's so stressful. But there was one dog that was my favorite. This was like years ago. He did not go kennel crazy, but he had some weirdness about him. I feel like he was very protective. And I remember I was sitting up front and he was sitting in front of me, like facing me. We were just hanging out. And an officer came behind me and went to like reach over to pet the dog.
Oh, no.
And he was like, oh, you're coming from behind her. So he like protected me and like lunged at the officer to like go at him. And it was just like immediate heartbreak. I just walked him to the back of the shelter and was just like sobbing.
so
and stuff.
sad.
It was
And it's
awful.
So
always
wait,
the ones you love the most.
You knew that, like, right when the bite happened, you knew that that was like
I
the
knew
death
that was
sentence.
it. I knew.
Dogs
He was
can't
already
be
on-
adopted out with bite
Yeah.
histories like that.
We do not adopt out
yeah.
dogs that have bite histories just for safety. You can't justify that. Unless it's something that's like super accidental, that's like, oh my God, they totally obviously did not mean that. Like, he was guarding me, he was protecting me. He definitely meant it. He was already on thin ice. I knew that was it. Yeah.
Fuck, I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Yeah. R.I.P. Capone.
Oh,
Capone, baby.
Yeah.
Shout
I
out
still
Capone.
think about him till this day. Yeah. He was a giant dog too. So
I like to think that
Yeah.
all the dogs we ever love, like getting to meet that,
Yeah.
like I say to my fiance all the time, like when I die, not to sound dark, when I die, I want to go to the Rainbow Bridge
I
and
hope I get
see
to see
every
them
animal I
again.
ever loved,
Yes.
including this dog that I saved from this that I had to
Yeah.
put to sleep, or that cat that broke my heart that died on this case. Like I just think that when I die, I
Yeah.
get to go where they all go and I get to see them again and love them again.
yeah.
This
I
is
love
just
that.
court. Yes, I do too. I'm sorry. I'm underplaying. I'm trying to think of what to ask next, like an asshole, and I'm not ingesting like the very kind thing that you just said.
No, yeah.
You'll see Capone again.
Yeah. When my cat passed away, I was like, I hope he haunts me.
Yes. Yeah.
When did your cat pass away?
October 17th. So only like 4 months ago. It was the day that I got married.
Mm.
The same day.
Nice.
I was still in my dress and he was like dying in my arms.
Haley, I'm gonna
Yeah,
cry.
it's deep.
Damn, dude.
It was awful.
What was the name of this sweet ass Kiki?
Biggie.
Biggie.
Yeah.
Shout out Biggie.
Does he
was the
back up that
best.
name?
Yes.
Okay, that's
He had
good.
a big ass personality. He was the best. He was the best cat.
How old?
He was only 5.
Oh, I'm
he
sorry.
had feline leukemia and immunovirus and one eyeball. All the things.
Oh my God.
He had
Classic.
everything stacked against him.
Where did
Yeah.
you get this?
From rack.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what, you were just in there, it was a he?
Yeah.
He came in, you're like, this motherfucker.
I just
This is
loved
the
him.
one.
He was the best. He was the nicest cat. He was just so affectionate. My dog also, like I said, he was like kind of a crackhead when he was at the shelter. So like he never would have passed a cat test at the shelter. And he somehow made friends with this cat. And they were like best buddies. It was amazing. Yeah.
I'm so loyal to cats, man. I just fucking love cats.
Cats are the best.
Yeah.
I
When a
love my
cat
dogs, but
loves
I'm
you,
such a cat
it's
person.
the best.
We were
Yeah.
talking about cats on the break for a second, and there's some really cool advice
Yes.
or a distinction between the different kind of cats.
Yeah.
Can we chat about that? For a
Yes,
Oh my God.
please.
Tortoiseshell cats are spicy.
Yeah.
They have
Tortitude.
attitudes. Tortitude.
So what is
Tortitudes.
a
Yeah.
tortie cat? How would you know?
They look like they're black, orange, white, speckled, like all the colors. It's like a cat that couldn't decide what it wanted to be when it was
But
born.
not white.
But not white.
It's
They're mostly,
tortoiseshell, like print.
black with
Yeah.
Okay.
But they are
Yeah.
spicy.
Yeah, you showed me a picture of one, and
Mhm.
I immediately associated with the look of a black T-shirt
Yes. With
when bleach gets
Yes,
on it.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a great
That's so
description.
accurate.
Yeah.
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 All
But the
of-
cat I would recommend for a first time cat owner is a black male cat or a male orange tabby.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
of my cats have been black cats.
Or a
'cause
brown
black cats are the
tabby.
best.
Brown
They just have
tabbies
like
are
a
pretty
better
great.
demeanor, or
Yes,
Yes.
they're
okay.
friendlier. All of my black cats, like if they bite you, like they never break skin. Like they don't
It's a
ever,
love
they
nip.
never get aggressive. I feel like they just are sweeter.
I tell a little snippet throwback to when my family acquired a really cool black cat named Burlap. A little bit of TMI. Wanted to take it the fuck out, so this is where we pick back up. I've acquired said Burlap.
What did you name him?
Crazy.
We named him Burlap.
Oh, I was about to say, please, you had to give him like some kind of backpack
Yeah,
name. Burlap is
yes.
fantastic.
Yeah, the burlap sack.
That is so
But
cute.
yeah, I brought him home, and we still had Tiger at that point, and I let Burlap out, and he just jumped out of the backpack and like headbutted Tiger, and Tiger did
Oh.
the weird like funk face the cats make where they're like
Yeah.
after they smell something.
Yes.
Yeah.
He
yes.
like did that, but then they
Really
got along.
funny face for this
Yeah.
audio podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
I
Um,
love hilarious cat names. Like,
But he was
That's a good one.
all black, green eyes. Man, that dude was a
Aw.
stud. I think he made it to 19.
Wow,
good.
That's,
That's
amazing.
great.
Probably
Yeah.
a lot longer than he would have.
Yeah.
Ah, dude.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Yeah.
saving him.
Yeah. That's why I like fuck with you guys. Is like every time I've reached out to y'all, you've always given advice. Every time I've like tried to bring something to you, you've helped. Gotten a couple cats with an ex-partner of mine, and they're still healthy and thriving. We went in. That's what I was confused about, because I swear I thought you were the one that helped us the day that my ex adopted those cats. We went in, we got a 3-legged cat.
What year was it?
But you said 5 years.
Yeah.
It doesn't add
It was
up.
more than that. Yeah.
Yeah, it had to
Do
have
you have a
been.
doppelganger?
Apparently.
Yeah, there was like a 3-legged
Maybe it was
cat,
Hemsworth.
and
Stop.
you guys were like running a special, I think, where it was like $5 or $10 for an
Yeah.
extra one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there
For
was
an extra one. We
Buy one,
actually
get one
offer
free,
BOGO
actually.
for cats now.
Oh, that's cool.
we
That's
offer
awesome.
BOGO.
But like there was
Oh, that's wild.
I'm being dead ass. Like
It's
Buy one,
literally
get
BOGO.
one.
We can't just have
also do
one.
like kitten pairs.
Yes.
So like you pay for one adoption fee for 2
Cats are better in
kittens.
pairs.
well, one of them,
Yes.
the 3-legged dude. I'm sorry.
No. I didn't have
The
anything.
3-legged dude was like older, and no one wanted him because he had 3 legs. But then
God.
like the adjacent facing like kennel for the other one was a kitten, but the kitten's eyes were all like goopy, and he was all dumpy, and I just remember being like, man, I like this little guy. He's a fucking idiot. And he pooped in his food bowl. And I was like, that's a keeper. And then they were like, yeah, it's only like 5 or 10 more for the other ones. So we took them, and they're still like thriving and doing
That's
good.
amazing.
I chose my cat because he's an idiot.
Yeah.
He was like hanging upside down in his cage, and I was like, that one. I want the crazy one.
I mean, like the one that I picked, he had all the viruses, one eyeball. He was there for a minute before I adopted him. Like, no one wanted that cat.
Those are the
The
ones.
rejects are the best.
Yes, the
Unconditional.
ones that no one wants are the best ones.
Yes.
Unconditional
Yeah.
love.
And I've had my fettuccine for 10 years.
Yeah.
And nobody wanted him. I love him.
So this is awful. I just need to get like the reality of things out of you. What was your worst shift?
Oh, there's way too many to choose from. One of which I can't talk about because it's still in court right now, but I cry all the time if I think about this poor cat. I can say it's the...
Oh my God.
So really quickly though, and to interrupt you, and I'm sorry. You guys have to take this shit home with you.
We do, and that's something
Where
we...
you'll just sit there and you're watching fucking
and it
Seinfeld.
affects your home life,
I
absolutely.
feel like I personally hold on to it and for a very long
Yeah.
time, and then I like have a few drinks and it just busts out of me. It's hard to talk to people that are not in the field
Yes.
about it though,
Yeah.
because they really do not
They
understand.
don't understand it. It's
Like
yeah.
it's you can talk to your coworker about
Yeah.
it and they get it.
Yeah.
But like if I talk to my husband, like he doesn't really understand.
Yeah, I'll go home and tell
I'm
my
sure-
fiance about like what I saw, like the fact that I had to dig a dead dog's body out of a trash
They're like,
can.
oh my God.
And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you had a really rough day." But that's him like doing the best that he can. Like he doesn't get
They don't
like
get it.
he doesn't, and that's no fault of his own.
Yeah.
But it's you do take it home with you, and you just have to try to figure out how not to take all of it home with you, so that you're not ruining your relationships at home. And I've seen it happen. There's so many coworkers whose relationships have like evaporated because of their work life, and
There
you
have
really
been
have
people
to.
who work one day at RAC
Yeah.
and quit.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
people process things differently.
Yeah, yeah.
And like based on some of the stuff you said, when you were explaining that, like, again, I'm not a dog person.
And
I
that
don't hate
honestly
dogs,
was not even the worst case I've seen. That was like so mild.
But people
a case
process
going on.
things
Yeah, but
differently.
yeah,
and
yeah.
like, just like by you even bringing that up, like, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, fuck. That's one thing I was worried about with this episode, but I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm gonna give
It's
I'm
hard,
gonna give a
yeah.
trigger warning at the
Yeah.
beginning of
Yeah.
this.
The public does not truly understand
Yes.
what we see and deal with on a daily
they don't.
basis.
Yes.
It's mind-boggling to me. Still, I've been doing this for 3 years. It's mind-boggling what goes on in our city.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't think. Like it's changed my view of the city of Richmond. The now that I know what's going on in it, my love for it has diminished greatly because I
Yeah.
see all the bad.
Do you think that it is? Do you think it's something that is consistent in other communities?
Oh,
as well?
absolutely.
It's
I'm
just
sure.
kind of
I
across
think
the
if
board,
I
or-
did the same job in
It's
any
not
other
just
city,
here.
I would end up feeling the same way about that city. It's
Yeah.
just I feel really sad because I love the city of Richmond so much. So I feel kind of jaded that I had to see this side of it, and now I'm like, ugh, like I don't love it as much.
you just don't know
but-
what people are doing.
You don't, yeah. It's, and
And
it's just it's your
It's-
backyard.
It's
You never
everywhere.
know.
It's
yeah.
everywhere. It's not
Yeah.
just here. It's not like a fuck a Richmond
Yep,
thing, but it's just
exactly.
everywhere.
Yep, it's
Dude, I went
everywhere.
to a show in Manhattan like forever ago, and I was leaving the show, and I heard this cat like meowing like in terror, and I didn't know what was going on, and there was a townhouse set up with a bunch of different townhouses. So I just called, like I Googled something and called like a animal help,
Yeah.
whatever. And it turns out that the cat was stuck in some sort of like ventilation duct or something.
Aw.
But when they inspected it, they figured out.
There we go.
I
hope
hate
everyone's
that,
okay.
man. Fire truck. Gosh.
They're so obnoxious.
The
Like we can
second
see
I
you and we
hear
can
one,
hear
though,
you.
I pull up
You
the
just
active calls.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you started
Yeah.
dancing. I thought you were
Yeah.
going to say the second I hear one, you're
No,
like.
I pull up the active calls. I'm like, what block are they?
I'm
going
always
to? What's going
nosy. I'm like, what's going on over
Yeah,
here?
I always want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, so they investigated it, and it turned out being a meth house.
That happens.
Was
And
the cat positive for meth?
no, I think the cat got saved. I'm not sure. Okay, so what the fuck was I talking about? Your worst day. So, what is a day that would be weird to try to go home to your significant other, and then they're just sort of like,
Sorry.
well,
Yeah.
Clint's been saying I haven't
Yeah,
been selling
yeah.
enough boots
No,
with the warranty,
literally.
and
I
you're
think-
like
yeah.
dealing with a dead dog that got like
No,
mangled.
literally.
Yeah. No,
No
I think
yeah.
the worst.
There was a dog that got immolated
Tommy.
in that one park
Yep.
by
Tommy.
Guar Bar.
Yeah.
That
and
was just
I was
the
walking around.
anniversary. The 6-year anniversary
Yeah.
was this past like Saturday, I believe.
And it's
Oh,
stuff like
fuck.
that. Like you think about,
Yeah.
it's hard not to think about what that animal went through.
Oh, dude,
And
it was
to,
it was tied
I
to a
think
tree.
about the physical,
Yeah.
like
That's what I think about.
what was
yeah.
that dog's thought process
Yeah.
as his
And it's someone you
owner-
know that
Oh,
like,
was that-
It
yes.
was his owner.
Oh,
Yeah,
was
yeah.
okay. Okay,
And it's-
He's out of jail now.
Yeah.
sick because I think he
He
was a
got-
minor. But
No, well, the animal cruelty, I think the maximum you can get is 7 years of jail time for felony offenses. So after time served, there you go.
I mean, mental health is weird,
Yeah.
and people have problems. Typically, if you're going to do something like that to an animal, I mean, I'm like way into true crime stuff. It amplifies.
Oh, and
It
there's
starts
a
there.
direct
Yes.
correlation between animal crimes and human related crimes, 110%. Absolutely. Like we have handouts that are given to us from the police department that are like, if you see this, look out for domestic violence signs. And then we also give that to them. If you see these animal related issues, there's also probably domestic issues going on. So it's, you gotta, they interlink a lot.
I got way into that shit when I was a kid. I went to a church, Fairview Baptist Church in downtown Fredericksburg, and there was a girl. She was awesome, and she was sort of like a babysitter and like I looked up to her. Sophia Silva was years older than me. I think like 5 years older than me. She was Hispanic, and she someone drove up. She was doing homework on her front porch, and a guy started asking for directions. I guess grabbed her by the head and dragged her into his car.
Ugh.
And she was missing, and it was really weird. And it was like one of my first crushes in my life. And I just remember she was missing. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And I remember when the newspaper first posted that she was missing, it was like the size of a pack of cigarettes. I was like, that's weird. You think that'd be more important? And then, like 6 or 7 days later, 2 white girls, the List sisters, went missing, and it was a full front page. So it was like I was a kid, like 8, and
Traumatizing.
that made me understand like the first dose
Yeah.
of like what racism
Yeah,
kind of
yep.
was, where it's like, oh, this Hispanic girl
Mhm.
gets a 3x2, but the 2 white chicks.
Yep.
And I'm not shitting on anyone. Like they're victims,
No, it's
but they got a full
valid.
page.
Yeah.
But yeah,
What's it called? White
They
woman
were not
syndrome?
treated
Yeah.
equally.
exactly.
Yep.
But yeah, she was found.
I'm like curious what's going on.
She's found down by the Rappahannock River. The dude cut her arms and legs off and her head off, and just set her up on the riverside. He shaved like all of her.
That's awful.
It was brutal.
That's awful.
But yeah, so that's when I started getting like way into
Yeah.
like, oh, why the fuck does this shit happen?
Yeah.
Like there's monsters out there. And then I
People
remember
are
like the
just
first
genuinely
signs.
have like screws loose, not. Yeah.
Chemicals are different
Yes.
in our brains.
Yeah.
The first
Yeah.
signs there were always animal
Always.
abuse.
Yeah.
And okay,
It's
so what was your
rare.
what was your best day at work?
I do want to say it's truly not a lot of like absolute depravity with animal crimes. A lot of it really is coming from a place of true ignorance, like people genuinely just not knowing better, not knowing the correct way to care for them. And unfortunately, those actions can lead to the animal dying and suffering from those actions. So a lot of our job also, like, we're really big on education and outreach. So we're not always out like charging people and taking them to court for every single thing. Like I love outreach. I do outreach projects. So like one of my favorite things that I've done was this little old lady who lives on the north side. She's got 3 pit bulls that live outside in cages. They're not coming in her house. She is 70 years old. She has never had a dog in her house, and that's not about to start now. I can't force her to take that dog in that house. But what I can do is help her. So we took in one of her dogs. The dog got adopted within like 48 hours of being surrendered. She was spayed, vaccinated. She found a new home, and that was fantastic. And then the remaining 2 dogs, we neutered them. We vaccinated them. We gave her dog kennels. Like we bought and purchased, like ordered her huge dog kennels outside. They were
so
set
cool.
up. We provided her with adequate dog houses. We gave her straw and dog food, flea medicine, all the things. And now those dogs have a way higher quality of life. They're dogs that would not last in a shelter. They would end up getting euthanized because they are so reactive. She gets to keep her dogs. They're happier. Those dogs don't get euthanized, and it's a win for everyone. And I'm not taking a 75-year-old lady to court.
Yeah.
So
Can I also just emphasize, back to the breeder's permit
Yes.
thing, though?
Oh, yeah.
We offer
Irking ya.
free spay and
Yes.
neuter for City of Richmond residents.
That's super sick.
so there's no reason to
There
have
is no reason to have your dog not
Yeah.
fixed or to complain about a breeder's permit
Yes.
because we offer free spay and neuter. We also have a food pantry. We offer straw, all for free.
anything you
for city
need for an
residents,
animal. Like I tell
literally.
people all the
Yeah.
time, people are like, I can't care for this animal. And I'm like, why? What do you need? What can we do to help you
Yeah.
take care of this animal? We will help you as much as we
We
can.
have a list of low-cost vets.
Yeah.
There's a low-cost vet that has a clinic every Friday, so you don't even have to be a patient.
Yep.
You can just show up and get in line
Yeah.
and get the vaccines that they need.
But they don't know these
Yeah.
things exist.
Yeah.
So it's really like we have
They
to
just are
educate people
ignorant.
and
Yeah, they
provide
just
them
don't
these
know.
things.
Yeah.
So it's truly like the real depravity that we see it is not as common as I think I might be making it seem like it is. It happens for sure, but it's not nearly as prevalent as the true like ignorance that's going on.
Man, this is. I don't know what to do here because I feel like we could do another hour and a half.
No, literally.
Can you guys come back?
We could.
I would be happy
Yeah.
to.
Because I
Yeah.
feel like we can cover more.
Yeah.
And maybe
Part 2. Rack part 2.
Rack part 2. Maybe
Yeah.
bring in 2 more of y'all too.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Thank you for doing this. And
Mhm.
I'm like, I don't know. Obviously, we're gonna have to give kind of a trigger warning at the beginning of this episode because
Yeah.
it is sad, but
Mhm.
you guys are working your balls off.
I mean,
and
yeah, our mission truly, like, we want to save as many animals as we can, and we want to be the voices for as many animals that need it as possible. But we also really want to see animals in happy homes with their actual owners, both sides of that happy and healthy. We want pet owners being the best owners they can be to their fullest potential and having their animals as happy as possible to keep them out of animal shelters. We don't want animals in the shelter.
The shelter's not
it's
the
it's
place
a
for
last
your
resort.
animal. Yeah.
But we are here and we exist. We do this job to help those animals that can't speak for themselves. And we just got to do everything we can to keep that going.
I did that show here, Fuzzy Cactus. We did a benefit show in April of 2024, and we raised like $1,500. And I remember bringing it in there and just being like, "Fuck yeah!" Like,
yeah.
this is a grand slam,
Yeah.
motherfucker. And then I remember hearing from y'all that money was out the door by the
It-
time
yes,
we left.
absolutely.
Probably within a day. Yeah. So
yeah,
quickly.
within a day.
Like,
We
I-
constantly pick up animals daily that need emergent vet care that
Yeah.
costs tens of thousands
Yeah.
of dollars.
One day,
Yeah.
one night at the emergency vet for something as simple as just fluids, like IV fluids, is over $1,000.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like an animal that is needing like legitimate like care.
Parvo, if it's treating
Oh my
parvo
God.
virus, that's $10,000 up
For one
front.
dog.
For one
Yeah.
dog, it's $10,000.
I think I got y'all 1,500, and we were there for 20 minutes. And then I remember we left, and you were like, "It's already gone." And
Yeah.
there was some dickwad that was like that shot a dog on Midlow Turnpike,
Yep.
Sounds
and then there
about
was
Yep.
right.
Yeah.
there was some other
Yeah.
dog that needed like an emergency, and I just
Mhm.
like I was stoked. It was like I did it, $1,500. That's great, you
Yeah.
know. Meow Mix is only $7.49.
Yeah.
but
A
then
lot of meow mix.
Yeah.
but then I was like, oh, there's some
Yeah.
fucking psychopath
Yeah.
fucko
Yeah.
that's like shooting dog, and I just
Yeah.
didn't realize. So
Or, that 1,500 went towards us like purchasing kennels for somebody who can't to bring their dogs inside, but also
Yeah.
doesn't want to take them off of the heavy chains they live on. So, gotta find a medium.
I'm gonna keep trying. Like our album's almost done, and I swear to God, every dime is gonna go to you.
Thank you.
you motherfuckers.
The animals, thank you.
No, they
for-
appreciate
yeah.
it. for
Um,
sure.
Because we can't do what we do and save as many lives as possible
Yeah.
without people contributing to it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the city doesn't just give us buku
No.
amounts of money to go to
Our
the vet.
funding for medical care It is all from our foundation and donation base.
That's super sick.
100%.
Yeah.
So what was your best day at work?
Best day at work. I don't know if it was the best day, but a best like outcome.
Let's give me some positive vibes.
So there was a dog that I seized from this man because he whacked her with a machete like 3 times, like sliced up this poor dog.
Oh my God.
I know. It gets better. It gets better.
Okay.
It's so good. So this dog was whacked with a machete. I seized her from him. I charged him with animal cruelty, felony cruelty, and won. So he was convicted, found guilty of animal cruelty. The dog came to rack. She was treated. She made a really good recovery, but unfortunately, she did not thrive in the shelter. So she was slated to be euthanized just because she was doing so poorly, and she was not a good candidate for adoption through the shelter. I adopted her myself because I was like, no, I can't. I saved this dog. I can't put her to sleep. I can't let this happen. So I took her to my house, introduced her to my crew. She lived in my house for a few months, and then I found her a real permanent home, and she is very happy today, has a really great family who loves her. She's still got her little scars on her head from the machete, but I always think about her. Her name was Pepita, and I just think about how we were able to, save her from that terrible situation. We found justice for her, and then at the end of the day, we were able also to find her a permanent home forever. So that's one of my most favorite things that I hold on to all the time.
That's super fucking cool. What about you?
I mean, all of my favorite days are definitely ones where dogs are adopted that have been there for a long time, or they have things going on with them that people might not like. I can't think of like a specific day on the top of my head, but I just thought about the case. I'm pretty sure it was your case with like all of the like emaciated dogs, the dog that was like half dead on the couch.
Oh my God, yes.
It got adopted.
Ruger.
Yes.
Yeah.
God.
That case broke my heart.
He ended up surviving. He was like half dead on the couch when she saved
I kicked
him.
in a door to get that dog.
There was kids in his house and everything.
This mom like skipped out and left her kids in a house full of dogs to fend for themselves. The dogs were like emaciated. The kids were not in great condition. And I peeked through the door and I saw this dog like laid out on the couch, just a bag of bones.
Stiff.
And I was like, I'm not waiting for a search warrant. And I just like rammed in through the door, grabbed this dog and ran out of the house. And we rushed him to the vet, and the emergency vet that was taking care of him, she adopted him.
Yes, one of the people at the emergency vet adopted him. His
name is
fostered
Ruger.
him, yes,
Yeah.
and he's thriving now.
I'm glad that's
Stuff
one of your
like that.
favorites.
Yes, it's just such a nice story.
Yeah.
And I mean, even one of our current dogs, like Riverside, I'm sure you guys have seen stuff about that. The dog that was like
left for dead on Riverside Drive. Yeah.
He's amazing.
He's doing so well.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
He's doing so well. The second you walk up to him in his kennel, he's wagging
He's
his
such a
tail.
happy
He's 25
boy.
pounds right
Like
now.
last week when you posted that? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's doing great. Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And so if people are interested in Riverside, how do they go about?
I
showing
think he's
interest?
still on a legal hold right now.
So we have
Yeah.
like protective custody for animals that have active court cases, but definitely keep an eye on our social media. We will post him when he's ready to go home.
So just
Alright.
RACC on Instagram.
Yep, but we have Facebook and Instagram. Our website is always up to date with all of our adoptable animals. Yeah.
All right.
I love y'all's website. You're going to have to follow me back again. You guys
Yeah.
unfollowed me, but you're going to have to follow me
what?
back.
Who did
From
that?
RACC.
From the Rack Instagram?
Yeah.
I do the Rack Instagram.
You're unfortunately
I can
going to
follow
have to
you.
follow
what's
me
the
back again
at?
so I can tag.
It's Dynamo something.
Dynamo 69 420
Oh
at
my
I
gosh.
just followed you
Letsbang.org.
from the Rack Instagram.
You just blocked him?
No.
Yeah, block him.
That
It
would
says
be
follow
fun.
back.
I can't.
I raised y'all money. You're like, get out.
Um,
So I want to end this on a stupid, and this might totally bomb, and that's fine. My brother was at home. He was in college. I think my band was on tour, and my mom was going to visit family, to be out of town, and my dad doesn't know what the fuck to do if my mom's gone. So my dad, it's like a Wednesday, and he approaches my brother. He's like, "Well, mom is going to be out of town this weekend, so I was thinking we'd go to Burger King for dinner Friday night. So what would you like from Burger King?" And my my brother's vegetarian, Hunter, and he was like, "I'll just do a veggie burger, onion rings." My dad got a pen and paper out and wrote that down on a Wednesday, planning for Friday.
I love that. It's a
Friday
planner.
morning, 11 a.m. Hunter, just a reminder, I'm going to Burger King tonight. You told me you wanted a veggie burger and onion rings for dinner. And my
I love
brother's
this.
like all groggy, like, oh God, yes, that's accurate. Yes, Bob. Thank you, Dad. A veggie burger, onion rings. 5:30. Hunter, I'm about to go to Burger King. Did you want anything besides the veggie burger and the onion rings? And Hunter's like, good God, man, no, like, that's fine. Like, drive safe. But Burger King's like fucking 20 minutes away, dude. Like, it's so far. But my dad was so pumped on Burger King. He gets back, brings the Burger King in. Hunter got a veggie burger and fucking fries. There was no onion rings to be seen
Oh my God.
anywhere
Oh
because
my
Dad
God.
fucked it up. He left the note on the kitchen
Oh,
table.
no.
So Hunter gets his stuff. He's munching away. My dad's just making every noise. Like, Hunter's in the living room downstairs. Dad's right above him, just making every fucking noise you can think of. Sorry in advance for all that. But like he's getting out plates, like fine dining, to have his Burger King. So you can hear like my dad makes his way down the hallway. Hunter hears the sink running. So he's like washing his hands. Instead of in the kitchen, he went to the bathroom to wash his hands. And then he hears him come back to the living room. And then Dad, just eat the whole fucking thing! And my brother's like, what in the fuck? So he runs upstairs, and both of our cats are like,
Feral. Feral for
ripping
the Burger King.
like doing the sideways chew, destroyed all
Oh
of my
my
dad's
God.
Burger King.
He's
Cats.
been looking forward to it all week.
He heard him talking about it all week long.
Yeah, they were plot.
He forgot to get their order.
I was like, how in the world is this going to relate to cats?
Haley, Taylor, thank you guys. Thank you guys for what you do.
Yeah. Thank you
I'll
for
be
having
making
us.
more money for you all before this year's over.
Thank you.
Thank
You guys rule. Thank you so much for like
Thanks.
working your asses off. That sounded brutal.
up the
It's
good
good.
work.
Doing
It's
it
fine.
for the city.
Yep, for the animals.
Yep.
Sweet.